What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we are going to be looking at the AP Top 25 pool after some crazy upsets and close calls this week, this Saturday mainly. And yeah, we had a great game Friday night also. Oregon State beat Utah, so that was huge. First up, okay, I wasn't completely sure about number one actually. Georgia had a very, very close call with, who was it? Auburn. They only won by 7 points, and Auburn actually looked a lot better than them. So they do maintain number one, but I don't know. They looked a little sketchy. 35 number one votes, okay. And Michigan, who I thought might jump them, got 12 first place votes, so they're creeping up there. They might be able to steal it. And yeah, Georgia plays Kentucky next week, which should be a good game because Kentucky is 5-0. And honestly, I think they should be in the top 25. We'll have to see later on. But then Michigan takes on Minnesota, should be a relatively easy win for them. Number three, no changes still. Texas is 5-0. Taking on Oklahoma. That's going to be a very good game. They got 10 first place votes, though. It's honestly really surprising. They look good as well. Ohio State also doesn't move. So there is, if the season ended right now, that would be our playoff teams. Obviously, we still got a lot more left to go this year. They got one first place vote. They take on Maryland next week, and Maryland is a very good team. In my opinion, if I made the pool, Maryland would be in the top 25. I think they're playing incredible. Taulia Tagovailoa playing very well, got 7 touchdowns this week. So yeah, okay, and Florida State stays at number 5. Honestly, I thought Penn State might creep up there, but after a pretty impressive win at Northwestern, though, they started off really slow. They did pull it off in the end. Not really pull it off. Second half was just totally dominated by them. They won 41-13, but halftime was 10-10. Scared me a little bit as a Penn State fan, but we're good. And we will stay right where we are, which means no changes in the top 6 this week. That honestly really surprises me. Also, Florida State got 4 first place votes, and they have a pretty easy game next week. For Penn State, they have a bye week, so if they want to move up at all next week, one of these teams will have to lose. Honestly, Texas could actually lose, but I don't know where Oklahoma is right now. I know they were 14th last week, but they could jump up a lot if they win that. But after their bye, they're coming back and taking on UMass, which should be a pretty easy win for them. UMass is not having a very good season. Next up is 7th. Okay, Washington stays there, so no changes in the top 7. But here we have an incredible game. Washington takes on probably a top 10 team in Oregon. We'll have to see these final 3. They are most likely a top 10 team, and that will be the game of the week next week. So, oh yeah, Oregon is up a spot. So number 7 and number 8 will be taking on each other. Actually, they both have a bye, it appears. So we'll have to wait 2 weeks for that. That's disappointing a little bit. But when that does happen, it's going to be insane. Next up, USC. Okay, they moved down a spot. Oregon jumps them. I believe USC had a game. I can't remember who it was against. I'm pretty sure it was an easy team, though. So they must have struggled a little bit. Oh, it was Colorado. That's right. Colorado, who's been struggling recently after having all the hype around their team. And they started off the year incredible, but then started to crumble a little bit when they took on some real teams. They took on Oregon and USC 2 weeks straight, which is very difficult. But they got battered by Oregon, and they were getting battered by USC. But here's the thing: they came back, and it ended as only a 7-point game. So, you know, if that was just based off the first half of that game, USC would jump quite a bit up, but instead they go down a spot because, yes, Colorado made it very close. Next up, Notre Dame up a spot after beating Duke, correct? I think Duke, oh man, it was such a close game, and I thought Duke was going to pull it out, but Notre Dame stopped them on defense, and they have a good game next week against Louisville. And if you don't know, Louisville is 5-0, so these teams might not be ranked in the top 25, but these could be good upset alerts. None of them have losses, really. So we're going to have some good games next week, for sure. Alabama has a bit of a challenge next week. They're up another spot, but they're going to take on Texas A&M at 3:30 next week, which should be a pretty good game. I doubt Texas A&M is in the top 25, but they are still a very good team. I believe they only have one loss. And here we go. Oklahoma up 2 spots. They're still 5-0, and they have their first big challenge of the year, taking on number 3 Texas. This is their chance to really prove that they are serious. Honestly, I think they are serious. I know they haven't had to play too many difficult games, which is why they're not as high up as they probably should be. But watch out for Oklahoma. They could definitely sneak up on all these teams and find a way into the playoffs. That's just my opinion, at least. Wow, Washington State keeps moving up each week. They're 4-0, up another 3 spots. Next week they got a bit of a challenge at UCLA. We'll have to see how that goes. I think they've got a good shot at that game. They should win. Okay, North Carolina taking on Syracuse. They are up 1 spot, still 4-0. Syracuse, though, yeah, I think North Carolina was on a bye, actually. Surprising that they moved up while on a bye. But Syracuse is a decent team. I think they're 4-1, maybe. They just did take a big loss, but it was to Clemson, who's, although they're unranked, they are still a solid team. Oregon State, one of my big sleeper teams that you guys need to wake up on. Oregon State up 4 more spots. They keep taking down big teams, taking down number 10 Utah today. And yet, okay, obviously Utah is going to move way back. They are moving down at least 5 spots as we are now at number 15. Take on Cal next week in a break from their very difficult schedule recently, but they've handled it very well. Ole Miss up another 4 spots. Very impressive. They were up from 20th. And yeah, who did they win? Who did they beat? Who was it? Did they beat? I can't remember, but it was definitely a ranked team. I don't know why I can't remember who it was, but they take on Arkansas next week. And Miami, Florida. Okay, another sleeper team that I really like. Miami, Florida up another spot this week. Have Georgia Tech next week. Should be a solid game. Yep, there's Utah down 8 spots. Brutal. That pretty much, I'm not going to say it ended their season, ended their chances at a playoff. They could still do it, but I think they're going to have to win out. Their schedule is too easy for them to take another loss. They take on Cal in 2 weeks, so they have a bye to recalibrate. We'll see what happens in 2 weeks. Duke, oh man, I love this Duke team. I'm a North Carolina basketball fan, but for football, I really like Duke's team. I'm not a fan of them, but I do enjoy watching them play. Down another 2 spots. They were one of the big surprise teams this year, and man, very disappointed that they choked that lead away against Notre Dame. That was their real chance to prove that they are good. I still think they are very good. That's why they only went down 2 spots, because they did play well in that game. They have NC State in 2 weeks. They have a bye. A lot of teams on byes, actually. And here we go. Team that I said should be in the top 25 after they had played on Saturday. And wow, they didn't just get in the top 25. They went up to 20th already. Very impressive. They destroyed their team. Georgia up next. Oh my goodness. Wow, okay. Welcome to the top 25. You're going to have to play against the number 1 team in the country. That will be a very good game next week. And honestly, I might have Kentucky in this game. I might. Georgia has not impressed me very much. Next week, 7 o'clock. Gotta watch that game. Missouri, another team I like. Up another 2 spots. They have LSU this week. On LSU, we haven't seen them yet in the top 25. Did they drop out? They might have. We will have to see. That's at noon. Tennessee down another spot. Take on Texas A&M in 2 weeks. Should be a solid game there. Tennessee not quite living up to the expectations that I had for them, at least, especially after last year's great run. But that's in 2 weeks. Texas A&M, they have a bye this week though. Oh, and there's LSU down 10 spots, and now they have 2 losses on the year. And if they want to bounce back and stay in the top 25, they are going to have to take down Missouri. Honestly, I have Missouri in this game by quite a bit. They've been very impressive. Next week, noon, Missouri, LSU, number 21 versus 23. That's going to be great. Fresno State staying in the top 25. How about them from the Mountain West? They're 5-0, dominating every team they come across. It is a pretty easy schedule, I'll be honest. Obviously, if you're in the Mountain West, it's going to be. But they're still 5-0, so, I mean, I'll hand it to them. They have Wyoming next week, and finally, Louisville made it in the top 25. So there you have it. Thanks so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys